So hi, welcome to my video blog for building models. Today we're going to be starting the Republic P-47 Thunderbolt. It's a Tamaya kit. It's in 1/48 scale. We're going to build it with the theme that you see right here. And we've already started priming and pre-painting some of the parts. We've done the props in black. We've done some of the other sections in primer. I tend to like the all-clad products, especially their gray primer. It's great to use. It's a microfiller primer, and as you can see right here, or I hope you can see right here, it creates a very nice surface, gets ready for sanding and painting. I've also pre-painted some of the cockpit and started to apply a weathering wash on it. Usually what I do with this is I take black and burnt umber. I usually take one of my old black jars of paint. I tend to use Model Master paints. You can see this one's pretty nasty. And I thin it out as much as I possibly can, and then I'll mix some burnt umber into it, and I'll make a very nice wash. The black burnt umber mixture, especially if it's got a little grit to it, gives a nice texture. We'll be going over, as we do this, the dry brushing techniques to sort of bring the whole thing out. The other thing that I do with almost all my kits is I use Edward. It's a Czechoslovakian company, and I use their detail kit, which provides you with an extraordinarily nice instrument panel, seat belts, in this case some of the intake covers, some of the oleo braces for the landing gear, and essentially just really makes the kit pop out. So this is the beginning of the kit. It's a Tamaya kit, so it's going to be a good one. As you can see by looking at the rudder and such, the detail is very nice on this kit, very little flashing. You can see the main wing spar so that you've got some detail that'll come out through the wheel wells. And also this is very practical because, as you can see from the plans, somewhere on the plans, there they are, those wing spar pieces actually work very nicely to brace the wings, which you really need in a kit of this size. The P-47, for those of you who don't know, was a brute. It was the biggest single-engine fighter of World War II. It was built on Long Island by Republic Aviation. While most aircraft in the United States Army Air Corps inventory and the United States Navy and Marine Corps had a complement of 650 caliber machine guns, the P-47 had a complement of 8, made an extremely good ground attack platform. One of its only drawbacks was the fact that its supercharger was located in the belly. You can see the supercharger detail right there, and this did sometimes make it susceptible to ground fire. However, the engine, and you can see it here, that's been pre-primed, one of the rows of 9 cylinders, and there's 2. It's the Pratt & Whitney R2800. It's an 18-cylinder engine, and they packed a nice big oil tank behind the engine, so even with cylinders blown off by anti-aircraft fire, that engine would continue to run and get the pilots home. We have a large selection of propellers because they did use a number of propellers with the P-47, from Curtiss Electric to Hamilton Standard, and I believe there was another type, but I don't have that with me. So anyway, this is the pre-paint. One of the other things we've done, and if you're modeling, over there you can see the pin vise, very useful. And the pin vise is useful because the gun sight here, let's see when this comes into focus, we drilled out the actual holes for the gun sight in the, not the gun sight itself, but the mounting bracket. Gives it a little bit more realistic look. As we go through this, we'll be going with chapter after chapter. I think this is going to be a long build. We're going to start with the cockpit. We're going to move to the landing gear. I know that sounds odd. A lot of people don't do that first, but I'm actually trying that because there's a lot of detail and placarding that's going to go to the landing gear, and I'd like to get that done before I get into that rush. That's the thing that happens when you're got the plane mostly together and you're starting to want to finish it. So I'm going to do some of the smaller detailed add-ons, including the bombs, the drop tanks, and the landing gear before I actually do the main build. So cockpit first, then ordnance and landing gear, and then we'll get into the rest of it. We're going to use all clad for a natural metal finish. We're going to try something I haven't done before, which is to use the decals for the invasion stripes that it comes with, and that beautiful checkerboard pattern that's on the front of the aircraft, where it's also a decal, and we are going to attempt to do that. Most of the time I paint my own invasion stripes and I paint my own striping, but I've done checkerboards before, and no matter how detailed and how crazy I get with rulers and geometry, I never seem to get the checkerboards right. So we're going to try the decals and just try the whole thing that way. We'll of course use the Microsol and Microset products, and I would say over the course of the next 2 months, because it'll probably take us at least 2 months to do this, we will be going through the full detail of this and hopefully winding up with a really good looking kit, a really good looking version of the P-47. Anyway, thank you, and I hope you've enjoyed this. Talk to you soon.